Nole insiders Lane Hurt and Tim Linnefelt here with you after Florida State's first scrimmage. Head coach Jimbo Fisher was pleased with what he saw, said he wants to see a little bit more situationally smart play from the team. Players kind of echo that as well. Is that kind of a big thing you want to see this time of year with scrimmages?
Yeah, I think so. It's the first scrimmage, so I think a lot of what you're looking for is sort of the nuts and bolts stuff. A question specifically asked about DeAndre Francois. Jimbo Fisher said, today is kind of about getting the play call in, getting everybody to the line of scrimmage, and getting the play off in time. What actually happens after you snap the ball is almost secondary to a point, just as far as getting the, like I said, the foundational stuff installed there. So if you can kind of check that box off and move forward, that's a good sign. I think, according to what Jimbo Fisher had to say, that's sort of what happened today.
Questions 101 for after a scrimmage. You asked which players kind of flashed or stood out. Fisher never really gives a lot away, but the players talked, and it may sound like a broken record from Sunday, but Nyquan Murray, Nooney, once again, looked pretty good.
Yeah, I was trying to think the last time we had a camp like this where a surprise player has kind of emerged as the name that you hear a lot of guys say. Derwin James was asked about Nyquan Murray today, and he just sort of cracked this big grin. So yeah, he's having just a really, really nice camp. So he runs great routes. He's tough to cover. He's not the biggest guy, but Dalvin Cook was asked about that specifically and said, well, he plays really big. And Derwin said, the work that Nyquan put in over the summer, he said he'd often go by those sand pits, the famous sand pits, early in the morning over the summer and see Nyquan and a couple other guys out there working. And so to know that a guy put in the work over the summer and now it's translated onto the practice fields, obviously is a good sign for Florida State.
Lastly, in a scrimmage, if the offense do something well, it means the defense might have not done something well,
right,
and vice versa. So one of the really important things is, are guys making the right decisions and doing the right things when they get put in position? I know Fisher talked a little bit about that.
Yeah, I asked him about that because, like you said, you never know how good to feel after you give up a touchdown or score a touchdown during a scrimmage. But he said that for the most part, things were happening the way they were supposed to happen. If the offense was in the right position, is there a touchdown? Is it because the defensive backs fell down, or is it because he had good coverage and just got beaten? It sounded like it was more like that. It's just good plays and one guy getting the better of the other on that specific play. So in that respect, he sounded pretty pleased with the way things went. Obviously, one scrimmage and a lot more fall camp to go, but for one day, I thought Jimbo Fisher sounded about as pleased as you really could have expected him to.
There you have it, Seminole fans. Scrimmage number 1 in the books. You can check out interviews from Jimbo Fisher, Dalvin Cook, and Derwin James. Tim will have a write-up as well. And coming up later this week, we'll have Jonathan Shalacy's story on Dirk Cutter and what he had to say to Mike and Mike about Florida State's offense. And we'll have a little 10-year anniversary story with Coach Trickett, Dossie, and Coach Fisher.
Yeah, some good photos and some old stories from those guys that are proving to be a lot of fun.
There you have it. Stick with the Nole Insiders. For Tim, I'm Lane. Go Noles.